Hey gang, welcome back to the channel. It's Garth, one half of the Den Den Boys, and today we're doing something huge. We're going on a games room tour. Let's roll. Bonus! Before we get in the games room, I've got this extra games room. So once upon a time, this was an empty nook in my hallway coming into the games room. And I thought, what am I gonna do? I've got to do something with it. And I've converted it into my Nintendo wall. So let's check it out. All right, welcome to the games room, we're here. First thing I'm gonna show you is my physical media wall, my games cabinet. I had this one custom built back in the day, and it's really cool. It goes floor to ceiling, goes over my storage nook, which is gonna be underneath the stairwell. I'll show you that a bit later on. But yeah, I love it. The fact that I can fit all of my games on here and check them out while I'm playing in the games room. But let's check out what's on here. So there you have it. Here is the games room wall. Like I said, starts off with my Super Nintendo collection down here. Don't have a lot of boxed Super Nintendo, but I have a ton of cartridges in my storage room. But these are the ones I can display. Got my Wii U, into the Wii, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3. I have a ton of PlayStation 3. It's a really good system to collect for at the moment because everything's quite cheap. Into my PS2 collection. Keeps going. Into my Japanese PS2 collection. I've got some really cool games in here like Yoshinoya. I've got the limited edition Kero King, or Ribbit King, Coco's Curry House, another big hitter for the PlayStation 2, Gakibo 2, the Mr. Mosquito series 1 and 2, and then probably the pride of joy of the PS2 collection is my Sega Ages collection, which I have the first 20, which was the biggest goal. The reason being, you can see that binder there. Basically, all the first 20 of the series had a collector card in them, which had a bit of information about the game and its release and all that sort of stuff. And you put them in the binder and you collect them. So I'm really stoked. I've got the first 20. And as I go, if I see the others along the way, I will pick them up as well. They are getting pretty expensive, some of those later ones, but they're awesome. Into my PS1 collection, PAL PS1. Way up the top, like I said, it's floor to ceiling, so I've got to reach all the way up there. There's some bangers at the top. And then into my Japanese PS1 collection, I've got some Tenmei Jack, Crazy Climber, Groove Jigoku 5, you can see there. Burger. Yeah, Tondemo Crisis, Hard Edge, Gunner's Heaven at the end. Some heavy hitters there. And then along the little side, the little nook, I've got some of my smaller collections. I've got my PSP, small Vita collection, some bangers, not a whole lot of fillers in there. I'm starting to collect for the Sega Saturn. I never really collected for the Sega Saturn until maybe a year ago. But now with the Polymega coming in, I can start to play some Sega Saturn games and my PC Engine, one of my favorite systems of all time. And another system I've started collecting for recently, which I hadn't really collected for, is the Famicom and the original NES. I'm starting to collect some games for that. I was late to the party, but I'm starting to recognize how awesome the NES was. I'm a Sega man, Sega Master System man, but still starting to get my hands on some NES stuff. And up the top here, I've got some GameCube, and some Switch. But yeah, I'll zoom out and I'll show you. This is basically a massive wall that takes up a huge space in my games room. All right, part 2 of my games room is my Sega feature wall. This was probably the second thing I had built in the room, I think. Basically houses my entire Sega Master System collection. Sega was huge in Australia. I was a Sega kid, Master System for life. And yeah, I'm pretty close to a full collection. I've got 270, I think low 270s out of maybe a possible 280 for the PAL collection. And yeah, I love that it basically is a full feature wall in my games room. Sega for life. Let's check it out. Here we go. So it starts with just some collectibles at the top, some childhood toys up there. There's a Vision in there, Toe Gem and Earl, my whole Putt Master. Don't ask me why I've got that. Into my Master System collection, which I have displayed in alphabetical order. Yeah, Vaughn does it a little bit different. He actually does it, you can see the catalog number. When you go down to Vaughn's game room, he actually orders them by catalog collection. So his is a little bit different. He starts off with the plain sort of white and blue ones at the top and then gets into the funky ones, which started to get into, you know, the different fonts on the side, and they started to get into the picture covers later on as they went along. But yeah, I like to keep them all in alphabetical order. And as we zoom out, you can see more Master System games, my Sega LED sign over there, and then into some Mega Drive games. My Mega Drive collection is growing. I'd love to collect more, but it's not exactly the cheapest system to collect for at the moment. And sitting in front of that, I've got my my Beatles rock band chilling in the corner here. But yeah, here is my wall of Sega. From floor to ceiling of awesome. Sega for life. All right, so moving around from the Sega wall, this is where the main sort of section of my games room is. This is where I've got my retro TVs set up. And the majority of the gaming gets done on these two sets. I've got the Sony KV-ES, which as you can see has the DRC 1250. That was the big claim to fame. It's a rad TV. I love the whole steel look. And I'm playing my PlayStation 2, Japanese and PAL. And I've got my analog Super NT and my Mega Drive SG set up on these two with my component switcher. So originally the reason I got this TV, other than it being a dope TV, it has components. Some of my other CRTs didn't have component, and I wanted to be able to switch between all my consoles without having to get in behind that TV and change it out. So rad TV, amazing sound quality, and as you can see, picture quality is just through the roof. But yeah, it probably doesn't suit the Super Nintendo games as much. It doesn't have those big thick scan lines. So maybe it might leave the games room at some point if I can find another CRT. My dream CRT is the KV-AR, but I haven't got one of those yet. But it's amazing TV. I love that picture. In between, I've got the my record player. Get some vinyl going in the games room when you're doing some cleaning and tidying up. There's my record collection. What have we got in there? Some Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Streets of Rage 2. Some really big hitters in there. And then the other TV I've got is my King of HD TV. This is the Sony KV-HR 32-inch. One has the 36-inch, which is pretty dope, but I got the 32-inch. Probably all I need for the space that I've got. And off that, I'm running the Wii U, which looks amazing on this set. And then I've got the PS3 as well, which suits this TV perfectly. Playing through component, just looks mint. The legendary Tokyo Jungle on there. I actually had the cabinetry that it's all sitting on. I had it built, purpose built again. So this is another piece that I had purpose built. So I've got the storage down the bottom, very deep storage. I can actually fit probably 2 tubs in there, at least 2 tubs, maybe 2 and a small one. So plenty of storage under the TVs, plenty of room for the TVs to sit on, and space for the consoles underneath. And then above, as part of it, I got some feature shelving built in the games room. So this is basically sitting free-form above the TVs, and it's got heaps of my collectibles, just all my fun stuff on here. Kind of a bit random, but yeah, it's got all my fun collectibles and toys and figurines and all that kind of stuff. Maybe as I collect more stuff along the way, I'll maybe uniform it or maybe like theme it, but at the moment it's just cool to have a bunch of random stuff in there. The Adventures of Little Ralph, some old school Mario stuff. There's a lot of Nintendo stuff that kind of didn't fit on the Nintendo shelf outside. The gold collection for the Super Nintendo. Yeah, just a whole bunch of random stuff. But it's really cool when you're sitting here playing your games and you get to stare up at your shelves. It's a really cool vibe. So yeah, that's my main gaming section in the games room. So yeah, as you come down, you can see the Sega wall, my gaming TVs, into this, what I call the gaming nook. I've created like a bit of a Sega shrine over here and a little corner for my Bang & Olufsen TV, which I love. This is a great TV. This has basically a built-in VHS player, as you can see there. So I've got some of my favorite VHSs out at the moment. I love to have some old school pro wrestling going on in the background when I'm playing some games, some old school WWF. Above it, I've got my shelves, they've been here for a little while, but a lot of rearranging again. And 2 out of the 3 cabinets of toys have stayed in this corner, but sort of been moved around. They used to be up against the wall where the Wreck-It Ralph is, but I sort of had to move them out to get the TV in this little nook. So yeah, this is the sort of first change in this new nook area. The second thing that I did was I built, or didn't build, but I changed the main wall and put in some gaming shelves. Now, the story is that there's actually a window behind here, and I originally wanted to get some quotes on getting the window filled and shelved. A, it was expensive. B, they didn't quite really understand what I wanted to do and ended up abandoning the plan. So as, all good gamers do, I took myself to IKEA and bought myself a couple of 3 Billy bookshelves, installed them in front of the window, and hey, bam, there we go. There's my gaming wall. So yeah, it's a good fit for this little section. So let's take a closer look. Yeah, like I said, here's my little Sega shrine. The story behind this one, I actually won this in an augmented reality Sonic the Hedgehog competition. There were these augmented reality signs all around Brisbane, and you had to go and hunt them down and catch Sonic on your augmented reality on your phone on this app. And it was an Australia-wide competition, and I came second. So I got this cool Sega Sonic Generations game box collector's edition. Awesome. Some of my original Sega Master System. I've got some more Sega, my Master System 2, more collectibles for the Sega Master System, down to some toys and some peripherals in my mini consoles. I've sort of housed all my soundtracks, CD soundtracks and DS games here. It's a nice little nook for those to fit into. And then into some of my other favorite collectibles. So I've got some Voltron, my original Voltron toy from my childhood. Some more Voltron collectibles. Some G.I. Joe that just didn't fit in my glass cabinets. Down into some collectible toys. This was a pickup from a couple of trips ago in Japan. The Namco collection, super stoked. I've been looking for that for a while. And yeah, it's a rad little space, and turned a space that was not being used because of a window that was always closed anyway and blinds down into a extra bit of gaming space in my room. Looks rad. Give you a look inside my glass cabinets here. Huge fan of the Transformers, especially the G1 stuff. So here's some of my big collections. Into some... This thing here is really cool. I remember seeing these in we used to have Tandies here in Australia. Takara, I think it's Takara, sorry, the Takara watch. Yeah, it's a Transformer on a watch. And I got that one. My mum got me that one from an op shop in Canberra. Look at that, 22 bucks. Still has the original sticker on it, rad. Into some G.I. Joe. In this cabinet, some of my original toys down there. That Snowcat was my original from when I was a kid. Into the second cabinet, more Transformers. Some G1s. Some of my favourite little Transformer books underneath there. Again, I kept them from when I was a kid. More Transformers. I'd love to get a light for this cabinet. I need to find something that's a little bit portable. I don't really want to have another power supply in here because it's hard to get to. But I'd love to put some sort of like little mobile light in there. And up into my shelves. More Transformers and Collectibles, my GoBots up there. The good thing about those new shelves is that I've actually created some space. So I've got some random things up there now. But yeah, when I collect some more, now I've got space for them. The Nook continues. We're sort of coming around the games room, doing a bit of a lap. This is the last section that changed, and that is I've basically got a new TV in here. This is a Panasonic Plasma. And the reason I got the Plasma in the room and replaced it in this corner was because I've actually got the Polymega, which I'll show you later on. And it runs out of HDMI. I originally wanted to play it on my CRT TVs, which would have been awesome to play my retro games on, but the HDMI cable and the Polymega, I couldn't get it to work. I tried converters, didn't really like it. The Polymega doesn't like being converted, so I needed an alternative, and this is what I came up with. So the Plasma kind of still feels a bit retro, but still able to play my Polymega on there with a bunch of other games. And then up above the Plasma, I've got my Turtle Shrine, which I'll show you very soon. Here we go. Here's the setup underneath the Plasma. I've got my Polymega, amazing console. Looks beautiful, works perfectly on the Plasma. I've got the analog Turbo Duo for all my PC Engine games. And I've got the Wii, my original Wii, believe it or not. Set up on here. It looks amazing at 480p, so that's perfect on my Plasma screen, which is a fantastic picture. I love the picture on this Panasonic. And then up we go into my Turtles collection above the TV, which I'll give you a close look at. Here's my Turtles collection. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for life. If you're a kid of the 90s, man, you love the Turtles. Raphael was my favorite. Comment who yours was. That coin, I remember having that coin collection. That's not my original one. I think back in the day you had to save up these tokens in the Sunday paper and send them away. I think I remember selling mine for some stupid reason, but it's all good. I got it back. They've gone up a little bit in price though since then. These are some candy dispensers from the 90s. Don't try to eat the candy though. It's exploded in there and it's goop. It'll probably kill you. So into the Pizza Power game. Man, I used to froth to play that game. I had a friend down the road that had the Pizza Power game. I used to beg him to play it all the time. Love that game. So yeah, that's my Turtles wall. All right, next thing that's changed in the games room. Probably doesn't sound like a big thing, but it feels like a big thing. And that is, I have officially reached my rocking chair phase. Check it out. So, as once upon a time, there would have been a games couch there. Now, it's rocking chairs. Yep, that's right, I'm that old. But the good thing about it is it's not just because I'm old, they're functional as well. So they take up way less space than the couch. Always been a gaming couch guy, but way less space, way more user-friendly. I could just pick it up, move it into my gaming nook, and be playing on those TVs or watching my wrestling. And then this changed a little bit too. This was originally with the other two cabs, with all my display things, but had to make way for the Bang & Olufsen, and now we have it in this corner. So let's have a look at what's inside my third cabinet. All right, here comes the gaming cab number 3. This one's basically got a lot of my wrestling stuff in it, wrestling memorabilia. If you haven't noticed a theme, yes, I am a Hitman fan. My hero, best there is, best there was, best there ever will be. Then I have a huge thing for the McDonald's toys. So I've got a ton of McDonald's collectibles. I don't like McDonald's. I don't like their food. But man, their 90s toys were unmatched. So I've got a heap of collectibles from the McDonald's toys. And then down in the bottom, I've got some other collectibles. I've got some Game & Watches, some other little knickknacks in there. My original Game Boy from my childhood. Some collectible stamps from Japan, maybe 10 years ago they were. And then these awesome bad boys. Anyone know these? Battle Beasts. These were so sick, man. I used to love these when I was a kid. They have like a little insignia on their chest that you have to rub and warm up. And then when you warm it up enough, it tells you whether they are earth, fire, water, air. The Battle Beasts. Goddamn, I love Battle Beasts. Two quick features in this part of the room that I've got to talk about, and that is, I always get a lot of compliments on this bad boy. The Sega Master System table, the tabletop. This is a priceless piece of my games room. This was made by my mum. She made it for me as a Christmas present. She was always a big supporter of the games room. Sadly, she's passed since, but it's a treasure that'll never leave the games room. It always has pride of place and a special place in the games room. And then the other one that people compliment me on is my Toe Jam and Earl rug. It's just a cool piece in the games room. Huge fans of Toe Jam and Earl. And it's a nice little feature as you walk into the games room. A couple little cool pieces there. All right, last but certainly not least, this is probably the pride of my games room. This is my, it's crazy to say it, but this is my arcade corner. So let's check out what's in it. All right, first cab in the arcade corner is my Neo Geo 4-slot MVS machine. So stoked to have this in my games room. This is a dream piece, an absolute dream piece. These were outside of every fish and chip shop and newsagents in Australia as a kid growing up, and you'd beg to play them, just watch the previews over and over again. It's just a dream. Long story behind this one, I basically, you know, the old Facebook Marketplace style, but it was on, it was off, it was on, it was off. And then eventually the guy realized, oh, I'm never going to play this machine. I do need to sell it. And I was there to snap it up. So absolutely stoked that I've got that in the games room. I've got my 4 favorite games on there at the moment, which are Metal Slug, Puzzle Bobble or Bust a Move. I've got Neo Geo Turf Masters and Ninja Combat. The first Neo Geo game I saw when I was a kid and fell in love with it. The second cab I've got is my Sega Blast City cabinet. This is an official import from Japan. Another weird story behind this one was that basically 2 dudes were going to open up a Japanese whiskey bar in Brisbane, my home city, and they thought this would be a cool thing to have in the bar, but then they kind of had a bit of a breakdown in their relationship, or the business went under, they weren't going to do it anymore, and he needed to sell all these cabs. So here I am to snap it up. It's got the original CRT screen in it. It is running Pandora's Box, so it's not got the official board in there, but that's okay. I was happy just to have this in my games room, and it's crazy to think that of all my years playing in the arcades in Japan, I now have one sitting in my games room. Just wild. And the last one is a newer cab. This is the 1UP Arcade Time Crisis slash Point Blank, which I'm a huge fan of both of those series. This was bought for me as a Christmas present, and I love playing my Point Blank and my Time Crisis on here. Such a cool cab. But I'll give you a bit of a closer look, up close and personal with these cabs. All right, I told you I'd show you my little hidden door here. So the cool thing was, back in the day when I had the games room built, I was able to build some storage underneath my stairwell. Yeah, I've got a lot of stuff that can't quite fit into the games room, but it's still quite valuable to me. So I've got some spare CRTs you can see back there. I've got my PlayStation 3 TV, my 3D TV. These are both on some wheeled trolleys, so whenever I do want to play my PlayStation TV or my CRT, which has got my Master System hooked up, I just wheel them out, put it in front of the Master System wall, and play my games. And then here is all of my organized consoles and accessories. So I've got them all boxed, labeled, ready to pull out whenever I need them. All right, gang, there you go. That was my tour of the games room. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you like what you saw. Thank you for letting me show it off. And if you are enjoying what we're doing, do all that great YouTube stuff. Like, share, subscribe, and hopefully we'll see you back very soon for another Den Den Boys video. But before I leave you, little play toy. Last thing I got installed in my games room, a bit of a vibe, and that is my downlights. So cool. So there you go. Thanks for checking it out. Peace from the games room.